Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the summer school teacher interview with Clement,
Hi.
our first lecturer here, who is going to be talking about computer science. But firstly, I wanted to say, hey, Clement, how's it going?
Hi, hi, Romain. So it's going very well. Still a bit nervous about the interview, but I think it should go well.
I'm excited for this. Also, I'm excited to hear what you have to say about your field of choice, your work, and everything related to your experience with the summer school as well.
So I'm a web developer, a junior web developer. I work in an amazing startup, which is called Happy Day. So it's my second full-time job. My first one was pretty short, but I think I will have the opportunity to talk about it a bit later. And on day-to-day basis, we meet with my team, see what we need to create as a feature, and I get a feature, I get a ticket, and I just code it, and we test it, and it's all good, and the client see it, and it's amazing.
and everything works all the time.
All the time, not a single bug.
That's so
No,
cool.
so I'm developing a website, basically.
Awesome. Are you developing the website for the startup that you do, or for your clients?
So we are a ESG startup. So I don't know if everybody knows the terms, but it's like ESG is for environmental, social, and governance. So if it's like European criteria defined by governments to manage companies, and we create a data management platform around ESG. So
Okay.
it's a bit technical. I agree. So
It
we are
sounds super
a data
interesting.
management platform.
Okay, and but you're working on the web development side of things,
Yes,
and the clients also request web development services and stuff like that,
all the
uh,
time.
all the
Like
time.
as well as a startup, like basically we want to sign clients, and they are, we'd love to sign, but we will need that features, and we are like, okay, let's code it.
So
Yeah,
so it's on a
that's
client
good.
by client basis, and
Yeah.
you get to work on a bunch of different things, I'm guessing, like different technical problems as well.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. And so I was gonna ask, how did you like get there? What studies did you do? And yeah, how did you get to that point?
So I was always interested in computer science and development. And at the end of high school, I had two possibilities: either go to an engineering school, with
Okay.
like we have in France what we call a prépa.
Okay.
I don't know what we call this in English, but like preparatory classes to go to engineering school.
Like a polytechnic or something like that.
Yes, and the other choice was going to a private school. So I made the decision to go to private school, which I regret a bit now because I don't have all the engineering knowledge. But well, it get me there, so it's the main point.
Yeah.
And after my computer science school, I looked for a job and was like, yeah, when you're a developer and you have a LinkedIn and you have already done internships and all, you get a lot of messages from recruiters like, hey, do you want to work for me? I got like 3 message a week, maybe something like that at that time. And
Wow.
I got a proposition to work in Monaco. So that was my
Okay.
first job. I went there, worked there for 3 months. I was like amazing, like I do a lot of money, and like the south of France is very nice, but like the job was a bit boring. I didn't like it very well, and I was like, yeah, that's cool, but I'm far from my family. I miss my
Mhm.
friends,
Okay.
and looked for a new job, and I got an opportunity to work in a startup, which is right now, if I had the choice, I would never go back to a classic company like startups. Was amazing,
Yeah.
and I got the opportunity to work at Happy Day, which is the company I work for,
Mhm.
and it's absolutely amazing.
Well, that's great. I'll ask you a few more questions on what makes a good tech job in the future, but I wanted to get back to the point on computer science real quick. What was you said that you were interested in computer science from a pretty young age. What was it about computers that really got you into that? Um,
I guess I've always been interested. Like I was using computers at 3 years old. My parents
okay,
told
wow.
me. I don't remember.
So you were an
That's
iPad kid. Uh,
Yeah, and then in middle school, I was like, "Hey, what can you do with a computer?" So I like, "Oh, you can hack the neighbor's Wi-Fi. Let's try that." So
and so
that's
you
what
did
got me
that.
there. No, I never succeed because like you need special like. No, I don't want to go too deep into the geek stuff, but like you need a special Wi-Fi card to do this, and I didn't have
Okay.
that, so I never managed to do it. But yeah, it
I'm not
got
gonna
me
put
there, and so I went a bit into programming, like doing joke scripts on computers.
Hello World and all that.
Yeah, Hello World, and I used to do I coded a script that like shut down your computer. It's like one line of code. You double
Very
click
useful.
on it and shut down your computer. And what I did was like connect to the my middle school computers and put it as the Internet Explorer, like the web browser shortcut. Replace the icon, replace the name, and like when you double click on it, it just shut down your computer. So yeah,
That sounds
a
sounds
nerd
super
joke,
useful.
but
Yeah, no, I mean it's very fun.
quite funny, quite funny.
Not illegal, and I'm not gonna call the
So
police yet.
yeah, this was 10 years ago.
Okay.
And then I discovered video games like Minecraft, and like we had to set up your own server to play with your friend, and that's what got me there.
That's super cool. I never really, maybe I'll contact you later. I never really understood how to install a mod, but
Pretty hard.
pretty hard, pretty technical stuff right there. And so you said, yeah, so you got into computers pretty early, scripting and all those things. Is there a particular reason you decided to go specifically into web development rather than programming different things, I guess? Like I was going to say programming programs, but this goes a bit in circles. Any reason why specifically web development?
Originally I was like, I hate web development. I'm like, I want to develop like Python apps because Python is my main language, main programming language. So I hated web for a long time. But when you're looking for a job, there are not that much opportunity in other stuff, or at least I wasn't looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a web opportunity, and we are using Python also. So that was one of the main points. And when working on it, I learned to like it because it's not like there's quite esoteric languages that are not always fun to use. Let's say that. But yeah, you have to do it, and you do it, and then you like the result and the project.
I mean, sounds. I mean, I'd love to hear more about the esoteric languages, but what specifically drew you to Python? I don't really know much, so you can talk to me like I'm a fifth grader.
Sure.
But I have no idea. Like, what out of all of them does Python bring to the table?
It's my first language.
Okay.
It's the first island. So yeah.
That's understandable.
And like the syntax is pretty simple. You can read it easily. Like everyone will argue about the best languages, but they are all good. But they are meant for one thing, and that's why they are used. Like for example, if you go into game development, you will see like C++, Java. Like Minecraft is Java. C++ like for Unreal Engine, and Unity is C#. Like you're gonna have those specific language for game development, and like Python is more used for scripting, and now we are starting to have like some I'm gonna say framework. That's a geek term, but like frameworks to do like web development in Python, and Python is also widely used for data management.
Okay.
So which makes sense in our case because we are doing data management and websites, so we can use the same language for both, and it works out pretty well.
And if so, it sounds like choosing a language to learn really is based on what you want to use it for. Is there any suggestions for someone who doesn't know anything about languages? What language would you suggest? And if that's too broad of a question, how would they know which language to use or to get to their dreams? Is there anything that they could look up? Any resources that you used to orient yourself?
Sure. So basically, there are two schools when regarding the first programming language. Some will say you have to go deep in the rabbit hole and start with C.
And that's pretty challenging, I'm guessing.
That's challenging, but like that's the most basic language you have.
Okay.
And most of today's language are compiled like in lower languages and then
Okay.
interpreted. Um, and that's what you have to do. Like either you go with the C, which is quite complex, or you can go with Python, which is a bit more broad, but you will have more abstraction, and that can be hard to understand.
Okay. That sounds. I mean, that's a really good place to start. Either C or Python. It makes
Or
things
you can
simple.
start with web development, but there are many languages, but it's really fun. And the advantage with web development is that you have like immediate, like you can see what you are doing. It's not like a obscure thing. Like you are doing a web page, you see the web page, you understand everything.
Understand. Yeah, yeah, and what? Just to briefly go into the technical stuff before I ask the chat if they have any specific questions on, background and things I haven't asked. With web development, you say that there's a bunch of different questions, a bunch of different questions, programming languages that you can learn for that. Will, is there any one that's maybe particularly useful that you would say?
Yes, there are the three basics that you're gonna
Okay.
find everywhere, which are HTML,
Okay.
CSS, and JavaScript.
Okay. That's
Those three
very
are
clear.
like the must-have for web.
Okay, and you know all of them. Is there any one of them that's your favorite?
Like they don't compete to each other because they are like specific for one thing. Like HTML, let's say it's the bones of your website.
Hmm.
CSS will be like the all you everything you put on, so like organs, skins, and everything. And the JavaScript will be like will give the ability to move to the body. Like so,
Okay.
it's complementary. They each don't do a thing, and so you can't like choose one
Yeah, I
out of the
understand.
three.
I understand. They're all like different tools that can be used at different
Yeah.
points. Kitty was asking, yes, I have a difficult relationship with Python, and people say it's the easiest language for beginners. Do you think you would agree that it is the easiest one to digest?
I would say yes, but my answer may be biased by the fact
Yes.
that I love Python.
But is there any utility for a language like Python when it comes to web development?
I
Or are
mean,
they quite separate?
Python is not that used in web development. You have to use specific frameworks to do it. It's not like the language you would use to do web. Like some people, I have a friend which is a very good web developer working in his own company, which told me once like I don't even understand why you're using Python in web. Like that makes no sense.
Must be
But
hard
like,
to hear from a Python lover.
I mean, I understand his point of view.
Of
It's
course.
not something you would do every day.
Hello, Clement. Sora asks, does REST API play an important role in web development, or is there any other terms that is important in web development? I
Technical
don't know what that
question.
means. I don't know what that means. So maybe.
Then you can join the lectures.
Okay, yeah, I can't. Oh, well, I'll ask you a bit about that soon.
So yes, definitely. Like that's the one and only thing we use because like as the web start to be like data oriented, like before we were using like classic web page, which we ask the server, hey, I need the home page. The server send the home page, and that's all. And now we have more interactive and more interaction between the client and the server, and it all the time it uses every time REST API calls.
Okay.
So
So this is
that's
like the more interaction between the server. Would that be like more information that's being transferred, like login info and stuff like that?
yes.
Like,
And nowadays it's standard to use REST API.
okay, perfect. Well, thank you for answering this more technical question. I'll join the lectures to understand more about REST API.
Sure.
And to go back to, I guess, how you learned these skills, how was your experience learning computer science? How did you learn it? Was it more self-oriented? You said that you regretted not going to a classic engineering school. Um, how was the university experience and all that?
So I learned a lot by myself in middle school and high school because I didn't have any development course. So the only thing I could do was going on YouTube, look for how to develop in Python, and go from there. So I found a book about it. Like nowadays, you should not use book to learn computer programming, but yeah, at that time I did. It was good. It was a book about Python. I took like 2 weeks to read it, and I was like coding my own game on the side.
Oh,
Well,
cool.
I was like quite game oriented. I wanted to do game development. So,
Understandable. Yeah.
but when you start in Python and you want to do game development, it's quite contradictory. But anyway, so that's how I learned first. Was reading books, watching videos, looking
Self-learning.
for online courses, and like trying to learn stuff there. And in high school, I had a teacher that made you learn programming.
Hmm.
But like when I get there, I was already knowing everything he was teaching, so
I hope you told him that. I hope you made sure to
it
tell
was
him
fun.
to his face. Yeah.
It was fun. And in the last year of high school, we had an
Hmm.
option to choose, and I choose like development. So we had like web development and Python development courses, which was taken in count for the baccalaureate, the final exam in high school.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I got a 20 out of 20, so I was like, yeah, I
It's
got this.
impressive. Yeah. So
um,
congratulations.
yeah.
Impressive.
And then I went to my computer science school, and
Okay.
I learned everything there.
And I was gonna ask you, like, was that the first time you felt like when you got to computer science school, was that the first time you felt that you weren't ahead of the class? Because I'm guessing since you got 20 out of 20 and you felt that your lecturer you knew more than what was being taught in the class, was computer
Um,
science school an important step for you? Did you learn things that you couldn't have maybe learned by yourself?
yes, sure. But what's more important when you go to engineering school and preparatory classes, it's harder, and you don't start a program right away. But when you
Okay,
go to a private school, you like the first week class was like programming, so you
jump
start
straight
right
into
away,
it.
and you meet also people who are really interested in it, and that's
Okay,
the important fact. Like I met some very good friends there, and that's amazing. And I was not the only one that already knew how to program out there, so like
okay.
we could exchange and talk about it and see what each of us have done before, what you have learned and how, and like share your knowledge with others.
So you could tell the teachers, they're not useful. Just let me talk to my friends.
Definitely not. Like the teacher we had was like very competent, and it was amazing to learn with them.
Perfect. No, that's that's well, it's a good thing to know, I think, for people that want to get into computer science is like what is the utility of these places and how do you want to how do you get the most out of university as someone who's learning computer science? And did some of these people that you met help you in your work life, let's say, or getting past university and afterwards?
Um, well, when we had a lot of good projects, so you have to work with others to succeed. And anyway, you will have to do it when you get to work,
Yeah,
because
of course.
like if you work alone, you won't do anything. So the question was about like, did I met someone that helped me with my job life today?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yes, definitely. Like I met some people that helped me get an internship, and that was like a key to me. Like because when I was in 2 years after the high school,
Hmm.
I got an internship at Michelin, because
Oh wow.
I live in Clermont-Ferrand, which is in the middle of France, and it's the city of Michelin.
The people that make the tires, right?
Yes, that
Cool.
company. So I got an internship there, thanks to someone who helped me get there.
Super. Oh no, that's very kind of them, and yeah, that's a similar experience to I think when I talk to people around me, university is really a great place to connect with people and to share ideas and just be in an environment where everyone's talking about
Yes.
the same thing. That's yeah. Did you have any specific? You were talking about this lecture that you really liked. Do you have any specific learning moments at university that really marked you? Um, any specific time where you worked on a project that you still think about, maybe?
Um, it's not a very good one, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. Yeah, so anyway, I'm seeing that my English accent is deteriorating with time. So if you need me to switch to the French accent with like that, tell
No, no,
me
no.
because
It's perfectly fine.
I'm seeing that it's going down. So
No,
you can
I
make.
can't hear anything. I can't hear any difference. You're all the same. Well, I can switch to the
Sure.
French accent as well.
So the most like the point I learned the most was like um, in groups, like it's about people skills. Like we were working in a group, and sometimes someone in the group don't want to work or is doing shit. Sorry for the language. Is not doing anything, and you have to do something about it. Like either you won't do anything if you keep going like doing nothing. You have to do like, hey,
Mhm.
either you do something or you like go away. I don't want to hear anything about you. Like you have to take those decisions because like most of the time people won't make it, won't choose for you. So you have to make the decision. And like working with other people is the hardest thing you will come in like in school, because when you get to work, at least in my company now, there is not at all like everybody's 100% invested, like, and you need it in the startup, so you don't really have a choice. But like in school, like you will find those people, and you need to either like make them work or just don't work with them at all.
It's a good life lesson, I
It's
think.
it was hard to tell it like this, but like it's the
I
reality.
mean, it's the reality, and it's. I mean, that's another point, I guess. Did the do you feel that the private computer science degree slash university that you did prepared you maybe better for work life than if you had done the other path with engineering? Do you think it's more specifically prepared you to work in computer science?
Um, any school you do that, no matter what your field is, I think it will never prepare you for work.
Hmm.
Like it's what is going to be the best for you is like doing internships, doing like part-time work. When I don't know, there is a English word for it, like alternance, when you
Alternance,
are,
yeah.
work like 1 week or two at your company and then 1 week or two at the school.
Hmm.
Those are the best opportunity you can have to learn.
And I don't recall asking, but so you did a bachelor's and then a master's?
Yes,
Okay, so and the bachelor's was in computer science and the master's as well?
yes, both in the same school.
Both in the same school. Okay, it was like
Yes.
a sort of joint master's. Cool. I know
Um,
Mango's asked about your first ever game, so I was gonna ask
yes.
about that.
The first game I made, I don't even remember, but I think it was like the bomb game, like where you move a character, you press space and it put a bomb on the map, then you have to run away. I don't remember the
What's the
name.
name of the game? Yeah, it's I'm sure there's a real OG gamer in chat that will tell us the name of that
Sorry
game.
about that, I don't remember the name, but it's this.
I was
Obviously
gonna
in single player, which is quite annoying to play alone, but multiplayer game are really hard to make.
even local multiplayer games, even games with double inputs. Let's say you're using the same, like in the
Yes,
past when there was
same
flash games.
computer is easier than network games.
Network, yeah. And I was ask a super stupid beginner question, I guess. In Python, can you code a snake game?
Sure,
Okay.
100%. Like you have some libraries that make you able to like give you the possibility to create games that are not that much used, and like a snake makes me the best game you can do with it. Like if you want like 3D games with that, I wouldn't go there.
You wouldn't do 3D you wouldn't do Minecraft in Python. You
Yeah,
don't
I
think that
would
would be very
rather
efficient?
jump from my window.
Yeah.
Like no, game development with Python, like joke aside, it's not made for that. You can do it when you learn, but don't do it after.
Very good advice, I think, for people starting off. And Sora was asking, you're working for the startup right now. What are the challenges, and what is the flow of work in the company as of? Any specific challenges? in the workflow?
So sometimes you have like the hardest thing in a startup, like sometimes a client needs something and it has to be done like by the end of the week. So even though the contract say 35 hours a week, like you have to put more to finish.
Calling the
Like,
police.
but it's quite rare. I'm gonna be honest, like it doesn't happen always, and it's very interesting to work in a startup.
That's good. Oh, also, if people aren't aware, in France, um, there's like a sort of legal limit. Have to. I don't know if it's a strict limit. I think when I was working, you can have extra hours, but they have to be paid more. But it's on the contracts. Usually, it's 35 hours a week maximum. But in most work environments, that isn't necessarily the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, I signed for it. Like, you go in a startup, you don't expect to like have your 35-hour job a week, go in vacation every weekend. Like, it's not gonna work. Like, you're signing for it. But
It's
there are
true.
also a lot of plus side. Like the people you work with, like, are absolutely amazing. To like to be to explain it, like my entire team, at the tech team and data team, which are like 7 to 8 people now, they all come from Polytechnique or Central,
Oh my
which
God.
are the
Oh
like
my God.
two biggest
Best universities and engineering
engineering
universities.
school in France, like two best. And I
Wow.
come from a random private school out of nowhere. So yeah,
I mean, I hope that doesn't cause any tension at
no,
all.
not at all.
Everyone's working in the same company for the
Yes,
same.
you're in the same boat. Like you have to work together, learn together, and it's great, amazing.
That's it must be really great having experience. You mentioned when we were talking before the interview that almost everything is done in English. So maybe a more French specific thing, but
Yes.
um, how is international work nowadays? Is one of the requirements for working in tech speaking English nowadays?
Oh, if you go in tech or any computer science relating thing, you have to speak English, or at
Hmm.
least understand it and being able to read it. Because like when you have a problem, a bug, or on your computer, you have to like find a solution. Your
Hmm.
first reflex is you open a web browser, copy paste your problem, and you click on the first link, which is often Stack Overflow, and and you read the answer. That's like half the job. 50% of the time is what you're doing.
I think
Um,
a lot of industries now require people that speak English and not only speak English but know how to look for the solution for a problem online.
yes.
Being a very good problem solver tends to be the difference in quality between a good worker and someone who's maybe less. I don't want to use the word good, but yeah.
Yeah, but you have to speak English. And to go back on your
Mhm,
question, like in our company, work asynchronously. I don't know if I said
mm,
that right. Like it means we write everything. Like we have a Notion for the
mhm,
entire company, and we write everything in it. Like you have a question about a feature, you write it in it, and then you can maybe like send a message to the person, hey, can we meet? Can we talk for like 5 minutes about this? Yeah, so like you have to write everything, and as we are international, like there are people that don't speak French, you write it in English that everybody can
mhm.
understand.
Do you work with a lot of you mentioned that your team is coming from some of the best schools in engineering in France. Do you work with a lot of internationals at this company as well?
Yes, yes. Like I think we might be even like only half of the people were are French, maybe a bit more. Like, but we have like a lot of ethnicity, like origin country, like Italian, Spanish, Lebanon, India, Russia, like everywhere.
And to ask maybe you can say if you don't want to answer it, a bit more personal question. Speaking to these colleagues from different countries, is there, if you were to work for, not in a French company, but would you consider working in the United States or another European country, or is France a nice place to be working in tech?
It depends on what you want. Like if you want,
Hmm.
if you want money, you can go to the States, because like you don't have the same insurance. In
Yeah,
France, you're paid less because like there are a lot of insurance, right? But personally, I want to stay in France because like
hmm,
that's where my family is, and
of
I
course.
and I have already tried going away, and I always ended up coming back. So no, I don't. I will stay in France, definitely.
That's it's nice. I enjoy France as well, but we can also move on to the next part about advice, more specific to future learners, and also about maybe some things that you're going to be doing in the summer school that I'd love to hear about, because there's some very exciting stuff that you'll be presenting.
Yeah,
I took a look at some of the plans and it looks very cool. I can't wait to take part
sure. I'm
and
very
follow these
excited about
lectures.
it too. I did the plan. Now I need to create the lectures, which take a bit of time, but we'll get there.
My YouTube recommended page is already getting some web development videos. Oh, interesting question from Kitty. Did you self-learn English as well?
I learned English in middle school and high school. In high school, I was in a European class, like where you have 1 hour more English and another, like we had also had physics in English.
Wow.
But like after that, I didn't have any English courses because like in my school we didn't have English courses. It was like you have a test, you have 3 level, either you're beginner, intermediate, or advanced. And if you're advanced, you don't have any courses.
Okay.
So that's why like I
You
finished
were already
learning
advanced.
my English with like Netflix, Prime Video, and all that stuff, like watching series and movies.
So you took the test, you were advanced, therefore you didn't have to do any English classes. And
Yes,
before that, it was from school. So you got to the advanced
yes.
level from learning in classes in school. Oh,
But
that's
like
very good.
my English finished the learning by watching movies. That's
Mhm.
why like now I have a bias. Like I understand better American speaking English, the American accent, than any other accent because like in movies you always have the American accent. So now when someone will speak with the American accent, I'm like, oh yeah, I completely understand it 100%. But like other accents, I have to pay more attention.
Scottish is a bit difficult. Irish. And well, that's a good advice, I guess. If people are self-learning English with shows and things to vary a bit the different countries they get their shows from.
Yeah,
Watch a bit of
definitely.
The Crown. Watch a bit of House of Cards. Blanchard asked a question before entering in some sort of tech-related industry. Is the school you're graduating from important? Could you join any sort of company even if you graduated from a quote-unquote lesser advanced tech school?
Very interesting question. Actually, in the tech industry, it's maybe one of the only like activity sector where you don't really need a degree. Like you can be 100% self-learn, and if you like do personal project and show your work, you can go into companies and code for them. But the school also matters depending. Like if you graduate from a very good school, like
Mhm.
Polytechnique Centrale, for instance, in France, you will have a lot more opportunities. But if you are a hard worker and you learn a lot by yourself and you do a lot of projects by yourself, you will end up having a lot of opportunities too. So
It's really
you can do both.
for someone who's self-learning, would it be how would they present their CV in a way? Would they have to do internships beforehand, or would they show maybe? I heard I have some friends that do more artistic subjects and they have portfolios. Is there a similar concept in maybe programming or web development where you could show an employer
Yes,
what you've done already?
yes. Portfolios are the best way to show your work.
Okay, and they ask for those during
Not
interviews.
always, but
Not
if you
always.
are a self-learned person, I think you will have to show it. I agree with Long-Good here. If you can do the work, you will be considered. Programming is about results. Completely agree. Completely agree.
I'm guessing the degree just gives the employer a certain idea of what kind of work
Yes.
you can do.
Sadly, in France, it's also what gives you your salary in some company.
Oh wow.
You like, oh, you already have a high school degree, like you will be paid less, even if you have the same competence as like a master.
And does
Not
this
in a company. It's some big company in France. It's still the case, sadly.
okay?
But
Since you did already one job in Monaco and now you're in the startup in France, very similar countries. But I was going to ask, do you think the employers still look at the degree, and at what point does your work experience define you rather than your education?
I think experience is better than degrees all the time.
Yeah.
When I was like searching for work or searching for a part-time internship or internships, like showing that I have worked before in
Mhm.
this area was always a big plus. like being able to write on my CV that I did an internship in Michelin, and the next year I did an internship in Airbus. Like that's like you put that on a CV and it's okay. Then you will always find something.
That's really cool. Any advice that you would give maybe to your younger self on anything?
Um,
View from here, like I mean, of course, not to tell your younger self, oh, if you want to hack your neighbor's Wi-Fi, you have to do this.
well, it maybe gain some time if I could tell myself that, but like
Yeah.
about life, I would say like, especially about programming, like anything you do will never be perfect. You will always learn something when you do something. So instead of trying like to always get the perfect result, the perfect little thing you want to put it there, like stop losing time and just go for it, and then you will improve later.
It's a lot of trial and error, a lot of doing,
Yes.
failing, understanding where you kind of messed up. And does it help to have collaborators to kind of review your work, or is there a sort of process for you to look at your own work and realize, oh, this didn't really work. I could have done this better.
Having like people who are more skilled than you looking at your code is like the best thing in the world. Like I discovered this at the company I joined, because before like I didn't have that, and the person that's reading our code at our company is like so competent, so good at what he's doing. Like it's amazing to work with competent people and skilled people like that. So if you have someone that can mentor you, it's like amazing.
Mangoes was saying, honestly, most programmers use GitHub at as their portfolio. Being part of open source project is something that really employers love during the interview process.
That's true.
Have you been part of any open source projects? Things like
I haven't.
community collaborative. Oh no,
I haven't. Like
everything for you.
I completely agree with that. But like when I work for a company, I like almost do only that. So on my free time, I don't code that much. Like I don't have a lot of personal projects or little ones that I don't like show or anything. But if you do like work with or contribute to some open source project, like it's amazing. Like when you tell that to your interview or to someone, like it will always get results. It's always impressive to have someone that work in open source.
Any interview advice specifically related to tech that you could give?
For my jobs interview, it's always like in multiple parts. You always have the first interview, which is about what you're looking for, what the company is looking for, the skill match, what they are waiting for. The next one is like more technical. Then you go to about a broad one, like on other subjects. It's like depends which interview, but the best advice I could give is like if you have a friend or someone that can like be the interviewer, like doing a role play before, it's really helping. Like it's like a presentation you do at school. You have to train before doing it.
And would you ask a friend to do that, or your parents, or anyone at all who's willing to listen?
If you're in a school and it's like my school was pretty small, so you could ask the management to help you with that. But if you have a school like and a professor you like, you could ask him to what he think about your CV, if you can train with him. Like
and as maybe going back onto the educational path, were you quite close to your lecturers at university, or do you wish you could have been closer? Or
a lot, because like in my school, some of our lecturers were people from other classes, like up.
Okay,
1 year older than you or 2 years older, all the people in your school that were also studying. So it's like they are your teacher and they are also your friend. You can go out with them after. So that was like very good.
Oh, that's so they can give you like the answers for tests and things like that.
Not really, like we don't do that, but it also gives you the opportunity to teach yourself, which I did in my school. Like I had the opportunity to teach like some lectures, so that was like very interesting.
Yes. To go on that note, what did you teach? And was that interesting? Was that an interesting experience? Do you use any of the skills that you learned while teaching currently today? Like, is there presentations that you give at work? Does it help to have had a bit of teaching experience?
Completely. That's like I think that was one of the best skills, the most useful skill I learned is how to teach, because like we had a training to do. Like you needed a certification that was delivered by the school to do it. Like it's not a real thing, but it was like inside school you needed that approval to be able to teach. And doing that training was very, very helpful. Like we were doing like role play, like I said before. So you were teaching an abstract subject, anything you wanted on the board, and you had like your friends and people of the school like listening, and everybody had a role. Like one was like a sleeper, another was the talkative person, and everyone had a role like this. So at the beginning is well all smooth, and then at the end of the day, like everybody throws something else. It's a nightmare to teach, but it's really a very good learning experience. And once you have that, like you feel a lot more confident when you teach. So that really helped me. And so when I indeed teach a lecture, I did like linear algebra.
Okay. Very complicated. Wow.
Like when you go to a computer science school, like most of the time, or like just a private one, they remove as much as they can like mathematics, because like most of the people that go there are like, yeah, I didn't really like school, so I want to something that where I can code. And you come and like you come in front of them and, hey, today we're gonna do a linear algebra. So they want they just want to go out and leave the class. But
yeah,
wow.
It's important. And not maybe a short tangent, because maybe we don't want to get into too technical stuff, but what's the utility of linear algebra within coding, mathematics within coding? Because when you hear about coding, it's often about programmers and all that, and I know they have a lot of mathematics involved in that, but it's not talked about as much.
There are absolutely none mathematics. Like if you do a web development, you won't have any mathematics. If you do game development, when you have like complex calcul to execute, you're gonna have some. But if you are not like a game engine developer, mathematics like are not a must-have. Is not a must-have.
Cool. Everyone heard it here first. Mathematics is useless.
No, don't make me say that. It helps you understand certain stuff, but like most of the time you won't need it.
That's good. It's good to know, because I think there's what they teach in school. I mean, in my own personal experience, what they teach in school is sometimes very different, quite simplified compared to what they'll teach you at university in a lot of subjects. I know people sometimes will try and get into architecture because they like to design interiors, but then there's a lot of mathematics involved, and they don't really like it anymore. So I've heard that experience from quite a few people in many different fields, where they're like, oh, I didn't expect there to be this much of this. So it's nice to hear that there's at least some paths in tech, in programming, web development, where mathematics is useful, but not, the central part of things. So I was going to ask a question about the tech world. There's been quite a lot of things that are changing about work, and especially in tech. Is there any advice that you would give to someone wanting to go into specifically tech? Any advice about work-life balance? It's a broad question, but
very broad. I don't know where to
very
start.
broad.
Anyway, if you're interested by tech, like the one thing I would do is go online, look at YouTube channels, website that talks about it. If you live in big cities like Paris, there are a lot of meetups which are done about tech, and you could go to one, like even if you know nothing, like you will meet some people, you can talk to them, listen to their experience, and they can teach you what to do, where to start, So that's always cool. You can also join the amazing Erudita project.
Exactly, of course, and learn a lot in a meetup.
Like just look on the web and look in real life if you have friends that are into it. And there are like a lot of areas in the tech world. Like you can do networking, you can do like security things, you can programming, of course, like video games, web development, anything. That are like so vast. You can do like everything you want.
Quick aside before I ask about this wonderful summer school and all the lectures that you do, that you're going to be presenting. How are hours measured? Is it like when you're logged into the program?
Like it depends. If you're in a bad company, they will like ask you to send a message or something else. Like personally, like we don't have to do anything. Nobody is gonna see like, oh, you worked only 6 hours today, or you worked 8 hours today. You have to do 7. No, nobody will do this. Um, as long as you get the job done, like if you want to work only 6 hours a day because you have something to do or anything, it will be okay. But if you want to work more because you have to do more, and then you have to do it too. So
It's an understandable way
like
to do things.
people trust each other, and it's going well for now.
It's good. That sounds very healthy. Sending a message or doing I think a lot of companies have the mouse moving thing nowadays, where like they'll track the
How boring.
boring. And to ask you about these lectures, this summer school that you'll be participating in and that you're presenting in, what can the community expect from your lectures in the summer school?
So we have like 18 hours, and the last
Mhm.
course will be done by Lucas, but I don't want to spoil anything yet.
Mhm.
So I will teach like basics of web, which means like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript,
Okay.
the three must-have. And then we will jump onto a bit more complexity by adding some PHP and database, which will make us able to build like a pretty good website. Like you could build anything with that.
And so it's using these lectures will have some aspects which will have a broad kind of outlook on the basics of all these things, but will also provide the skills to tie all the things together and all the different subjects, all the different
Yes, all
skills
time.
together. Wow.
Like we will use all of this together. Like we will do like exercise in each sector, and we will always like use the one from the previous exercise or start a new one, but it will always use everything we have. So we
Cool.
will gradually increase the complexity.
Is there any specific, for someone who might be listening to this, me, and who's very excited about these lectures, is there any tools that maybe a person could use right now to start already exploring this subject? Any free to use, or maybe apart from Googling, and is there specific tools? I've heard for coding, I don't know if this applies, but I don't know if Code Academy is free, but I used it for like 10 minutes.
Honestly, I haven't used any, so I don't really know. I can't recommend something I haven't tested, so I can't tell. Like I would say, like go on Google and search for it.
Okay. What are you most excited about presenting?
I'm not that excited about presenting. I'm excited about like seeing what people will create with it. That's when you teach that. That's the most. That's the best thing. Like you teach something and then you see people use it, and it's awesome.
That's so nice. Using the tools and always having like a difference of perspective when it comes to building a final product, a thing.
Yes,
Would you consider taking a full-time job a teacher job in the future?
maybe. I don't know really. I can't say right now because my company is so great and I'm having so much fun in it. I wouldn't right now, but in the future, like I don't know. Maybe teaching is really awesome.
What is the ultimate goal to teach people attending the lectures to know in advance what they'll be able to do practically?
So the skills I'm gonna teach are the one I used to make my first website. When I was in my first year, I learned the skills and I coded my first website, which was for my chess club. So I coded like the entire. It's like a blog. I'm not gonna lie, but all done from scratch. Only with what I will teach, like classic PHP, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Only that.
Very cool.
And so like once you have those bases, you can code everything you want.
You heard it here. You can code a chess website. You'll be everyone will everyone will be coding the chess website, going to your chess, stealing
you
the
can't,
code.
you can play chess on it, but like you can read articles about it, like you can see the results of the competitions and all.
Oh wow! Don't forget to follow the channel. Click the follow button if you haven't yet, and don't forget to join the Discord. Say hi. Clément will be presenting his lectures very soon. Well, they'll be announced on June 1st. So you'll have the full schedule there on discord.gg/Erudita. So yeah, thank you very much, Irakis, for being here. Thank you everyone
Thank
for
you.
being in chat and for asking very pertinent and interesting questions. And we'll catch you all very soon for the next interview. Thank you. Big love, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.